startup enthusiasts and fellow entrepreneurs, welcome to the Startup Show Video Podcasting, which is India's first video podcasting series for founders and trailblazers across the world to share their experience and learnings. So, this show is to encourage founders to step up and share how hard is a startup world is and manage a lot of hurdles on the way to success. And most of the founders or entrepreneurs are not aware about the challenges, but only to hear about the gold stories and about the achievement. They miss out actually the real stories behind how a successful startup becomes, like what are the strategies they worked on. So it's really important for every founders to understand the real hard work and strategies that failed initially, and later on they started to step up and make changes in their growth strategies, in their marketing strategies, in their whole product development strategies, and bringing that startup to success. So that is what is a startup all about. And considering from the perspective of a founder, there are a lot of stories to be shared. Like everyone, even we have a founder over here who has a wonderful startup called 5dvr.com, and he has been working on this startup, and he's basically from Egypt. So we are happy to host him on the show, sharing his experience, sharing also his experience from the Web Summit of from 2019, which has happened in Lisbon. So he's here on this call right now. So I really appreciate Maged Farrag, the founder and CEO of the company 5DVR, to join this podcasting tour. Thank you, Maged.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to join your podcast.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for the opportunity.
It's an honor to have you on the show. I really appreciate for your time, and also to just add on, he's a person who he's an expertise in creative innovation and also get things done kind of person. Also at the same time, to just give a small introduction about what is basically 5D VR. It is a VR studio based in Egypt. So their only primary focus is to make sure that they give the best highly sophisticated solutions for governments, for enterprise solutions, and so on. So we are here to discuss more in depth about 5D VR, what it is, how it was started, and what was the main purpose behind it, and what were the challenges, what were the hurdles, what were the mistakes they made, everything on this podcasting show. So let's directly dive into the conversation. So Majid, just wanted to start off with a very simple question. Why 5D VR? How did you start it? And what was the main purpose behind this?
Okay, so let me tell you a bit of history. 5D
Yeah.
VR was founded in 2016.
Okay.
Actually, it was founded as a daughter company for the mother company, which is called 5D Agency.
Okay.
This one we founded in 2013.
Mhm.
And that came or was actually a result of a merge of 4 different companies working in different domains of marketing and digital to become a one-stop shop.
Okay.
My company was part of this consortium, or let's say merge. I
Yeah.
founded in '94. So I've actually been more or less doing this for 25 years.
Yes.
So when we founded 5DBR, it was the right time to complement our agency work, I would say, with the prime focus on delivering on marketing solutions. But
Okay.
as we explored the full potential of the VR scene, now we're developing more, I would say, more comprehensive rather than just focusing on marketing and advertising, where we have a lot of services delivered when it comes to training,
Yeah.
simulation, stuff like that, events, of course, a lot of events.
Okay.
So primarily 5DVR was, again, inherited as or founded to focus on delivering highly technological solutions, marketing solutions for the agency, but then we expanded into other domains of service where we are exploring.
Yeah. So as you were saying about highly sophisticated solution. So can you explain what highly sophistication solution you're providing for the governments or the enterprise solutions?
Okay, so currently we're working for example, on the latest Magic Leap and HoloLens 2 devices. They're
Okay.
like the mixed reality devices that did not reach the consumer version yet. They are mostly made for developers and for enterprise solutions,
Okay.
basically. So that's one of the things that we're doing. We're also been playing around and experimenting with the new Kinect version 4, that has a lot of potential for volumetric capturing, and that's something that we can integrate also with
Okay.
our XR solutions. So that's in principle, but these are, I would say, the current more or less solutions that we're focused on or developing. That but a year ago there was a different type of solutions that are there. 5, 10, 20 years ago, it was a whole different
Yeah.
ball game. So I would say our mission is always keep looking for the latest technologies and putting them in contexts for local again enterprises and government entities.
So like so just wanted to make it much more simpler. I just want to understand with the base of an example. If I'm going to be a user of 5D VR, if you are introducing me this product to me, what would be the
Uh-huh.
best example, real time example you want to give? A real time example, which an example which people use very common.
Okay, no problem. So in that case, let me say that let's assume that you are a user, but you're not a consumer. You are a business or a government. Let's say business will make things
Okay.
easier.
Yeah.
So you are a business, let's say, in an area where you need your employees to have a lot of training on working on
Okay.
heights.
Yeah.
You need to come up with a solution to market and advertise your solutions during exhibitions and trade shows.
Okay.
Uh, you want to develop a corporate video for your board to show them the latest development in the company.
Okay.
So that's for example
Hmm.
the type of services that. So per se, let's say you have employees working at heights and want to develop state of the art using position tracking, 6 degrees of freedom, VR headsets that would give the employees the actual feeling of being working on height with the actual challenges. So
Okay.
that would be what I mean by trying to always look for the latest technologies and putting them in context and in a usable format for
Yeah.
different entities.
So from based on all these years, like see VR and augmented reality, AI is it's happening for a long time since I
Mhm.
think maybe more than 10, 15 years it's there. But getting the full potential is really hard. So how are you going to solve this problem, or what are the challenges where you're facing from the past, for 25 years of experience? What was the biggest challenge when you were started to work with 5D?
Well, there's always new challenges. So that's the life of an entrepreneur is always full of challenges.
Yeah.
My challenges 20 years ago are very different from the ones that I'm facing right now.
Yeah.
So I would say at the beginning it was we were the validation of the business model itself and having some traction and working with the clients where our and definitely finding the right people, because at the time when I started, people were not familiar with the technologies. So I couldn't find programmers who use the software that I would use, and even the designers were not used to using computers in design
Yeah.
process in the first place. So
Yeah.
in that context, I had to actually educate some of the team members that joined with me. So on the software tools that we are using,
Yeah.
I had to go and pitch for some clients to actually do them a free POC or a free demo to start making some traction and convincing them that we can deliver this kind of work.
Okay.
I tried to come up with new business models where we don't have to, let's say, direct purchase or sale to a certain entity.
Yeah.
Uh, for example, so I would go to exhibition organizers and I make a deal with them that I will put the touchscreen information system inside, and then I will pitch that and offer advertising and sponsorship opportunities to the exhibitors. So again, it's about coming up with an alternative business model and coming up with new solutions. So that I would say the challenges 20, 25 years ago, things were not that solid, I would say, as they are today, especially after the merge, after we merging with the three other companies, and having the economy of scale, and more partners, so everybody gets to focus on his area of expertise. These are all, I would say, the good sides or the positive sides of the merge. There are always negative sides, like everything in life. but
Yes.
that's life.
Everyone is. So basically, like, I would completely agree to that point. But like, I want to know, like, there are two sides of VR. Like, there are good sides of VR and the bad sides. And I'm pretty much
Of course.
sure a lot of hurdles to also, manage the technology from the virtual reality perspective. So
Mhm.
what was the biggest challenge what you faced to work with in virtual, like, by using virtual reality?
I'll tell you so especially when we started using virtual reality. Although the term we have used the same term something like 25 years ago, we're doing 360 photos that are still considered virtual reality. So technically speaking, you can say that we've been doing this for so long. But anyhow, when VR was reborn with with Oculus and all of that hype that's
Yeah.
been on the rise ever since then, the scene is it's not really there's been some over expectations across the board from all the players in the market, I would say.
Hmm.
That was due to a lot of hype, but then that was not the reality of it. A lot
Okay.
I've witnessed a lot of companies could not make it because there was not that much mass adoption, let's say, or because they were working, let's say, on a certain solution, and then a company as big as Oculus or HTC Vive, let's say, put that solution
Hmm.
integrated into their headset, so that killed their initiative in the first place.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of challenges I would say that are associated with the VR scene at the moment. Is that it's very fast. So in order to keep up with the new devices, the new capabilities, the new software tools, you have to invest a
Lot of
considerable
it.
amount of money and time
Yeah.
to actually be up to date when it comes to that. Uh, Meeting a few investors who are in the VR scene many times
Hmm.
during the past few years, and I agree to what was mentioned is that the VR, they were saying a couple of years, but I would say it's still the same now, needs a runway. You need maybe 2 to 3 or 4 years until
Yes.
it really reaches the full potential and becomes a real consumer product.
Okay.
So these are part of the challenges, I would say. In addition to, of course, convincing new clients
Yeah.
of something that maybe they haven't seen before. Some clients get very excited and happy, and this is the kind of thing that would turn them on or get them excited. And
Hmm.
some others get really, reluctant, and they fear technology. So this was just the end for them. But again, it's a new interesting field to be on. Then there's a lot of things happening. It's not only VR, like I'm sure you understand. There's a lot to the spatial computing. So there's MR, mixed reality. There's
Yeah.
AR. There's
AR.
VR. When we have an eye on actually developing on any kind of spatial computing that's out there.
And considering, like just to add on to the conversation, like you said, about the investments, like getting
Yeah,
investment is a big challenge when it comes to
of course.
startups like VR or AR, because these days competition has becoming rapidly growing. So considering there are a lot of competitors out there in the market, so how would you consider that the investment process? Like, is it a bootstrapping company, or are you still struggling to find the investors, or what are the challenges?
Well, I'll tell you. Actually, we've been quite lucky, I would say, especially that 5DVR was born, a daughter company for 5D Agency, which is the mother
Yeah.
company. So
Yeah.
we were lucky in that sense that we were, inheriting already the name and all the exposure that we're getting through the mother company.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I would say made our life easier. Uh, we are self-financed, so we have not really raised any investment rounds,
Okay. Okay.
and we're not actively seeking investments. We're focusing more on making our service, like I said, like the runway until we work on prototyping the products, which we are doing at the moment.
Okay. So,
So that's the thing.
so what stages right now? Because I think I'm pretty much aware in the web summit, you has displayed a very a part of one of the products for 5DVR, which is an XR
Yes,
shopping platform. So
yes.
what is it, and would you like to explain, like, so that we can understand what is it?
Sure. The XR shopping window is mainly like a SaaS platform,
Uh-huh.
a unified platform that would allow retail brands to create their AR or VR store and
Oh,
make it easy for them to do that. So that's
okay.
the idea.
Okay.
We've managed to actually make the implementation for one of the biggest clients in Egypt, but our
Okay.
goal is to make this more global and
Global.
more software as a service, so
Okay.
it becomes more
So, what is
accessible.
how do you evaluate the customers? How do you make sure that there is a product market fit for this one? And when you went to a web summit, what was the experience from there? Like, what was the response from the people who
Uh-huh.
came to you and spoke about it? What was the good things and the bad things you found from there?
Okay, so we had some traction, so that's the validation for the business model.
Okay.
Just getting first customer is always not enough, but it gives you a
Yeah.
validation that what you have sells, and you have somebody who can pay money for it. So that's one thing. When it comes to Web Summit, I believe we've got very positive feedback. There's not too much competition when it comes to that space, especially using AR and VR in retail shopping and making it accessible for brands, for consumers, and all of that. It's not out there yet. So I think we've got some positive feedback from Web Summit. It was definitely a good experience.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to repeating it this year, hopefully.
Awesome. Yeah, this year also we are coming. The web
Yeah.
summit is happening, so this is going to be very
Uh-huh.
interesting. So, just to add to that conversation, how it is going to replace the current existing technology, like we have having the retail, web pages and website. How it is
Yeah.
actually going to replace it, and what big future is going to come, such that more and more customers would like to create their online retail AR augmented reality based website or.
Well, I would say it would not replace the current, but
Okay.
rather enhance or augment the experience. So you can browse and see all of the features that you want for a certain product, and then you come to a certain point where you want to see the products in actual dimensions
Yeah.
inside your apartment, and this is what AR can give you. If
Okay.
you are a brand owner or you are a retail store, on the other hand, if you are no matter how large your showroom is, you're still limited in space. So imagine that you can use just square meter, 1 square meter, 1 meter by one
Yes.
meter, where you
Yeah.
can display endless, catalogs of your products with all the customization options. So in a way that will empower the consumer on one end to see
Yeah.
how the product actually fits in case of furniture or white goods, for example,
Yeah.
in their actual environment,
Yeah.
and also enable or give a tool to the brand and the retail store to display more and give more power to the consumer.
Okay. So it's a very cool concept of bringing everything into an augmented reality, such that we can understand how it actually fits in our house. So all the retailers can get into this platform and they can create their own augmented reality based. So basically, you're providing a service for them as a product,
Service software as a service
software
mainly.
as service and
So,
SaaS.
but
And
yeah, because there is a big part of of the work done will not have to be done by our company.
yeah.
So if the brand or even the VR studio
Yeah.
can use our service, so they don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know what I mean?
Okay, got it, understood. So, so how many people are actually working for this wonderful project?
Well, the people working for 5DVR in general
Yeah,
we're over 25 team members now,
25. That's amazing.
working across different departments from art, development, project manager, account management, and all of that. So
And at what stage is XR shopping platform right now? Is it launched or is it in the production stage?
it's still in the development stage. So
Okay,
we're still working on it.
okay,
We're uh, we're not, as I mentioned, we're not in a rush to do things. We'd rather wait and make it happen at the right time.
okay,
But we're actually working on another product as well that we are supposedly launching in Mobile World Congress this month.
okay,
It's relating to using VR in cultural heritage, so it's a whole different domain,
okay. So
and we
it
should be launching this
so there are a
this
lot
month.
of projects you're working on. So how do you manage all this thing? Because when you're working on multiple projects, it's very hard to focus on what to do, what not to do, and you might
Yeah.
get as a founder, you might be really in a situation like which is the better option I should choose, or is it the right thing what I'm doing? So how do
Uh-huh.
you make your calls? How do you make your right decisions?
Well, one thing I do, I'm not sure if that works, but I follow my intuition to start with.
Okay, okay,
But mostly, just to answer your question, it's about the team. So just to make sure that we have focus, because it's not only these two or three products. We have a lot of projects, that may be running on short term or longer term. So just having the right team to support you with all your initiatives, the people who can follow up on the projects. It's not sometimes, yes, when I started, it was my role to do everything, even the cleaning sometimes. So
yeah,
that's one episode of every entrepreneur. But at the moment, I believe I have the right people, the right team
yeah.
who can I can rely on to on putting all the projects, all our prospects on and visible for everybody, and following up at the right time.
Yes, that's amazing. That I think if you're comfortable with the team, you can create anything in the world. So it's a very
100%. If you love what you do, if you are resilient enough, and if you have the right people, I think these are the three most important
quality.
ingredients
Yeah,
to
amazing.
make any idea happen.
Awesome. And just to understand, just as we spoke about the technology perspective, product perspective, now let's get into a conversation where, like, how do you market your product, or what are the marketing strategies that failed initially? Because, like you said,
Okay.
dealing with the customers is a very big challenge to make them understand what the product is.
Hmm.
So, what are the hurdles you faced when you were marketing 5D VR projects, and how did you do it, and how did you overcome that process and made sure that at the end of the day, the client who I'm meeting today will make sure that they're going to use my services?
Okay, so again, if we're talking about 5 DVR, so 5 DVR was again lucky because it inherited all the exposure, the brands that 5D agency, the bigger company had. So
Yeah,
that's one thing. But in general, I would say again how I convince our clients, what I rely on for marketing. At the moment, we're mainly relying on word of mouth. So we get a lot of referrals. Just we're
yeah,
sitting here, and then people just calling us. We know you do this. We know you do that, and that will not only be from Egypt. We're receiving calls every other day, I would say, from
okay,
all over the region, and we have active projects in Oman and Kuwait and KSA and all of that. So
yes,
that's one way of doing it. Again, like I mentioned, sometimes a good way to convince the customer is to do a small POC, especially if you don't have that much of a showreel of our
yeah,
previous experience. So that
yeah,
that creates some traction and validates the business model to an extent. But
okay,
one of the things that I would say I've been actively or religiously doing is actually attending exhibitions and conferences like Web Summit, like
hmm,
Collision, like VRLA. Although these, I would say, are not short term. So if you're going to attend to any of these, don't expect that you'll come back with contracts signed
yeah,
or investors on board, as much as you're building. I would say it's a branding exercise. So you're making that recognition year after year, and
yeah,
I'm witnessing it now. People come to me and they, even though it's not business yet, but they will say, yeah, I recognize we've met in Collision in Toronto or something like that. So, that kind of recognition, I believe on the medium term will have some results.
okay. So considering the perspective from a CEO, like since you're founder of the company, how much do you think that your brand has grown, and are you missing anything? Are you missing any pieces? Like, because since you have pivoted from the stage of POC to growth stage right now, so how much do you think that the brand has reached out, and what are you expecting to do in the next 6 months to grow your brand, to create brand awareness and make more business?
Um, I believe we've gone a long way with some good brand recognition now. And again, it's not only in Egypt or the region. We have some good. We've delivered a lot of projects across Europe and even the States. So we have
Okay.
some good brand recognition. And I would say not only for the coming 6 months, but maybe for the coming at least couple of years, I'll continue attending to events and exhibitions and just because it works both ways. It's not only that you are showing what you have, but you are seeing what other people have. So this participation in such events, it's important to keep you up to date, especially in our case. We want to always look for the new technologies. So that's a must to do. We
So,
can't skip
so
this part.
So that's that's a part, yeah. But just like you said, you have more than 25 years of experience. Building products,
Mhm.
always ready for something, ready for innovation, always prepared yourself. So, what would be the best advice you want to give for the fellow entrepreneurs or fellow founders of yours,
Uh-huh.
like all the challenges what you face, like any advices for them would be a great.
Well, like I said, do what you love what you do. I believe this is the thing that's if you don't have it, because again, the entrepreneur life, I would say now after 25 years, it's not an easy journey. It's full
Yeah,
of really tough times. If you don't really love what you do, and I mean love, not just like, or you have a passion for whatever you're doing, this is a must. And as I mentioned, resilience, just make sure, of course, after validating that what you're doing is right and that it's profitable and it will work and all of that,
yeah,
resilience is another keyword, and the right team. It's without these three things, I think you'd better off as an employee,
exactly.
which is not
So,
bad at all, because that's, just life.
yeah, exactly. I wanted to, like that. That's actually the point. That point to be
Yeah,
made. Like exactly. So that was really wonderful. Like having you on the show right now.
thank you.
So
Thank you.
I really appreciate your time for being part of this show and sharing your wonderful experience with us. Considering from the perspective of all the audiences out there, I'm really appreciate. And this is what the show is all about: sharing and giving, educating the coming generations or coming founders, like whoever building a product. It's not an easy task to be done. At the end of the day, there are a lot of struggles and there are a lot of hurdles on the way, but it's the experience, what you learn from yourself to
Of course.
bring up with something really new and innovative and creative for the end users. So
For
it was
sure.
wonderful having a conversation with you, Mr.
It's
Maged.
my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity and for the great initiative. And if there is anything that I can help with at any point in time, just let me know.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So that
Thank
was
you.
the end of this episode, and I would like to take this opportunity to share with the community that we are building something really big in perspective of giving you a wonderful experience about founders, what all challenges, what all hurdles they face, and this is one of the part of from one of the founders who is talking. We are having this conversation all the way from Egypt. So that's really wonderful. I'll drop all the description down below to about 5D VR, as well as other. Even you want to reach to Majid, I will also share the LinkedIn profile link as well in the description below. Please do check out and let me know if anything comes up. This story is not going to end here. This is just a starting. Like after 6 months, 5D VR will be in another phase, another state. So we would like to hear that story as well. So this is going to keep
I
on
hope so.
happening every day, every single day in the coming days. So thank you so much once again.
Looking forward.
Until
Thank you.
we'll see you next time with a yet
Until next
another
time,
great story.
hopefully.
Until next time, thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Where you